Okay. All right. I think I'm live. We've got a few minutes. Ryan from Mad Genius, I'm looking for you so I can click you in. So if you'll send me a message on here when you get in. For those maybe watching, there are other submissions to go into the showcase. We will get those up and live, but it will be during lunch. So if you're submitting something, it is there. We try to get them on quick, but right now we're not looking at the server. So if you've done that, let it go. All right. So Ryan, I'm looking for you. Let me see here. Hey, V. Oh, V, I'm glad you're going to be with us, man. And there's also some other professionals I saw from the different agencies earlier. I'm glad y'all were in there. Oh, hey, Don. I'm watching. Don, I'm looking. Don, you're watching. Am I going to link in with you? Looking for Ryan. Folks, we got some more folks from Mad Genius Gulf Coast office, so fantastic. A Zoom room. I don't know. That sounds like some place that my mom told me never to go to, Zoom room. Oh, are you the Zoom room, Ryan? Oh, allow to talk. Ryan, is that you? Can you hear me?
Hey.
I'm going to go ahead and make you host in just a moment, okay?
Okay.
Good morning.
Morning.
Folks, right now your screen may be blank. I've got Ryan share with me real quick, so I'm going to sit there and promote him to a panelist. All right, so morning, everybody. I'm looking at side notes right there. I'm assuming that y'all can hear and see me unless you shout out otherwise. Some of y'all are coming from the other presentation. I think V, you're going to be in this one too. I can see, oh, you're mad. Fantastic. So I'm going to swap it over to you in a minute. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and make you host. So panelist. This works better if I talk through it as I go through it. So make host. Changing host. All right. Ryan, I can see you. And you're probably live. So if somebody on the side want to throw out, if you're seeing the evil studio, or the good studio, creation studio, mad right now, but let me know if you see it on there. But you can also hear me. So somebody post a comment if you're seeing Ryan and hearing me. We're going to assume yes. Going to my phone. I got other folks over here on the side. Oop. Oh, not seeing Ryan. So Ryan, they don't see you yet. Thank you, Don. Going to give it, there's probably a lag, but right now, share screen. Ryan, have you clicked on their share screen on yours yet?
I can share my content, but I'm wondering if people can see me talking.
Oh, they can hear you.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks. I'm pressing the button right here, and you're allowing host. There he is. They see you. Okay. All right. Good morning again, folks. Thank y'all for migrating from one group. We got about the same number of group. Earlier, we had a number of community colleges. We had Ole Miss. We have some classrooms who are streaming this. So fantastic. On the other side chat, y'all can't see me, but on my phone the other way, I'm getting positive comments. So I'm going to introduce Ryan in a minute. He's located in Jackson. And by the way, somebody asked, I'm hanging out again at Transmedia Creative in Gulfport. It's kind of cold today. If I walk outside, it takes me less than 3 minutes to get my toes in the sand, and there's seagulls outside. So it's gorgeous, even though I'm in a production studio. So hopefully everybody's nice and happy. So here we go. Folks, this is Ryan Farmer with Mad Genius, located in Jackson. They have a great event that says Get Mad. They, again, have always jumped up or helped us out in the past. So they were, luckily, I'm glad I got V and Mad to both come do this. I'm going to turn this over to Ryan. Ryan, we are recording this. There's a side chat going on. If you can't see it, as we get towards the end, some people may post questions, if that's okay. And there we go. All right, Ryan, thank you so much. I'm going to hit mute.
All right. Hopefully you guys are seeing that. Great, great. Thank you for inviting us to come and speak, giving us the privilege to come and talk to the next generation of creative geniuses. I can remember being freaked out, anxious, and all kinds of nervous trying to find my first job and venture into the real world from transitioning from student life. So hopefully we're going to help you out and let you learn from all the mistakes that I've made and we've made, and maybe give you a little bit of a roadmap to avoid some of those things. Let's see here, there we go. It's going to. So I work at Mad Genius. I am a creative director over here. I originally graduated from Mississippi College in 2005, ventured out into the career world as a graphic designer, took a couple zigs and zags getting into some web development stuff, worked at an agency for 8 years, and then transitioned over to Mad Genius, and I'm in my 8th year here. We are a collection of creative nerds and a collection of people that are really, really driven to do great creative work. At Mad Genius, we try to get all the things that inhibit creativity and problem solving out of the way, and give people creative problems and try to come up with creative solutions for our clients. We are based in Ridgeland. We've been in business for 16 years, and it is a great place to grow personally, and also a team that just really is driven to do things that are special, especially in Mississippi. You know, we love to hear responses like, "Ooh, I didn't know they do that in Mississippi," and hopefully you guys are out there looking to do that same surprise to folks out there in the world. So a little snapshot into our space. As you can see behind me, we have a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot soundstage that's in our building in Ridgeland. And that's pretty fun because we can shoot people on green and then take them, cut them out, and put them anywhere in the world that we want them to be. Gives us a lot of flexibility to build sets in here. A large part of what we do, we're a full service ad agency. I probably should have said that. And a lot of what we do is video production, just creative concepting, website development, media placement, really anything that a client needs to be able to promote their brand or any sort of venture that they might be going on. And here's a little snapshot for some of our toys and our creative space. And it's usually bustling with, you know, about 20 to 30 people here in the office. But we're here to talk about you guys today. The world is a strange place right now, if you haven't noticed, and everybody is generally at home freaking out about everything all the time. And I know you guys are freaking out. I want to help give you some tips to let you know that it's going to be okay, to let you know that us as organizations that are trying to hire people, our clients, we're all in this. I almost said we're all in this together. I can't believe I almost said that, but we're all in this state of figuring out as we go. And we ourselves, you know, are trying to figure out what's best to operate in this remote virtual world that we've been thrust into really without expectations or warnings. So we've had to build the ship as it's going down the runway. and our clients are doing that as well. So one of the things that I want you to take away from this is to be gracious to the people that you're looking to join up with. There's just a lot of unknowns that happen on both sides of getting hired and also of hiring. So be gracious. I think that will go a long way for you. Every organization is going to be different. You know, we're a small business. We have, you know, about 30 employees. We're going to have different policies and different setups than corporations that have thousands of employees. They have different considerations. They've got different mindsets. You know, we prefer that people are in our building with us working together. And that's not realistic all the time in a pandemic, post-pandemic world, but that's our preference. There are other organizations that prefer to be remote at this time, and maybe even permanently. I've talked to some larger local corporate executives, and they've mentioned that they've developed all kinds of new efficiencies. They've been able to cut down on some of their workspace overhead and, you know, give their employees a great internet connection and some good hardware. And their employees now have some flexibility and freedom to work in the environments that they want to work. So just know that every organization is figuring this out, and just be gracious as you meet with folks. The good news for you guys is hopefully your professors and your teachers have been training you on interview techniques and whatnot. All of those principles are the same. The only thing that's different is we're now doing it virtually in almost every scenario. Sometimes we're face-to-face, but so many of our chances to make a good impression are now happening before the meet, and even during the virtual handshaking and introductions to each other. So principles are the same, settings different. I want to give you guys a few tips on how to maximize that first good impression. So I've got 3 rules, and the first rule is to be online. Your potential employers are going to be researching you. If you apply to a position, the first thing that they're going to do is go online and research you. They're going to go look at your social accounts. They're going to look at your portfolios. They're going to look at any sort of digital presence that you have online, and it needs to be buttoned up. It needs to make that first impression. And I was actually talking with a professor yesterday about the shift in mindset to where we used to be when I was in school, where, you know, your book, I'm a graphic designer, so your book was your background and your everything. And as impressive as you can be on your book was really going to make or break that interview. Well, now that actually happens before you even meet. Most people, you're going to apply through a website or through some hiring portal, and you're going to submit your work, and people are going to judge you. People are going to judge you based off of your website, and it needs to be buttoned up. You have about 20 seconds to make a good impression, and that's a number I totally pulled out of thin air. But the reality is, if you have a position open, candidates are reviewed very, very rapidly, and if you don't make that good impression early, then you're going to get forgotten. And it's not fair, because you've got years and years worth of work that you've poured your heart and soul into making sure things are great, and some bad guy like me is going, oh, that looks like that person's got potential, or maybe not. And you've got to be able to make that first impression. So website, there's no excuse. I don't care if you're a marketing person, designer, videographer, animator, accounts person, whatever you want to be, you need to have a website. There's all kinds of free and very cheap tools out there that you can leverage. There's Squarespace, Wix, Weebly, WordPress. I mean, if you're fortunate enough to even know how to build your own, the important thing is you've got to stand out. And it used to be the default to where you need a website to sell yourself. Now it's even more important, because we're most of the time cutting out some of those initial face-to-face meetings.
Right. Ryan, I've got a question real quick.
Sure.
We're seeing your Mad Genius start page. Somebody was asking, was that supposed to be changing to another slide, or are we still on the first slide?
Oh, wow. I'm on about slide 7. So
No, hit refresh. It may be a lag at the front, but we're still on slide 1. So it's showing your screen, but has not changed.
let me try this. Is that getting any better?
the mouse is moving. So we see you're moving. There it goes. It just changed.
So imagine I had these really cool slides and y'all were very impressed all the way up until this point.
Those are cool slides.
Okay, so we were there. Good news, Be Online, website. I went to full screen. Let's make sure that I'm still live. Do y'all see the website HTML?
Yes, slide 9.
All right. So there's no excuse not to have a website. On that website, make sure that you have an easy to spot resume. Resumes are still very, very, very important. And we'll get into some of the details on that later. But you need to make sure that when you're sending your website and it's got links to all these cool projects and things that you do, make it easy for your folks, for the folks that are looking at you and reviewing you, to find your resume. Just making sure y'all can see the resume screen right here.
Still seeing still seeing HTML, slide 9. Okay.
Well, I'll get out of full screen and we'll do it mostly full screen.
We see the cursor moving, so it's refreshing somewhere. There we go.
There we go.
Clean up your social accounts. There it is.
There we go.
Okay.
So it's not enough to have a Behance portfolio alone. Those are nice. People get to see your work and they get to engage with it. They can see how other people are reacting to it. But everybody has that. Anybody can do that. What's going to make you special is if you take the time to go build a website on tools that are very, very easy to learn and have access to your Dribbble, to Behance, to whatever media type that you are specialized in, making sure you have access to those things, but build your own website. Spend $11 to get a domain name. It's really that cheap. If you aren't a designer type person, the quickest way that you can be impressive is to go get certified in some of the things that Google offers, whether that's analytics or digital media, or even some of their educator courses. We get very, very excited when we see people have taken the time and energy to go and take courses and be certified and say, look, I'm really trying hard. I'm committed to this thing. I've taken hours and I've taken tests and I want it. And here's some proof that I am very committed to learning and being a good professional. Clean up your social accounts. This one is probably, hopefully been communicated to you by your professors, but it's very, very true. We go research people as soon as they apply and we say, oh, that person might have some talent and ability that we could leverage. We're gonna go research them before we meet. So make sure that that's all cleaned up. We're gonna do that research. Don't look like a student. Go delete things that made you look like you were a party animal or whatever you did in college. Try to look as professional as you can. Doesn't mean don't be boring, but when we're hiring people, we know that person, individual, is going to be representing our brand, and we want to make sure that they've got the mentality that they can do that responsibly. So don't look like a student, but we do want to see your skills and your passion and your interest in your feeds. This is an example of a designer that used to work here at Mad Genius named Kirk Thornton, and he had a lot of talent. He was from Ole Miss. Hopefully there's some Ole Miss people on here that we can brag about Kirk. He was a great designer. And then, he kind of mentioned and had a little bit of splash in his portfolio that said, I'm also an outdoor photographer hobbyist. And he showed some of his work and we're like, whoa, that's more than hobbyist. You've got some real ability there. And we say, that's great, because now we've got another skill and another tool in our arsenal that we can employ when it comes to building custom designs. We've got a photographer and a designer at the same time. So any skills, even if it's sketches, we love to see sketches. We love to see behind the scenes stuff that gets you to where that final product is. Another example, we just hired an animator, and one of the things that he did that was very impressive Doesn't seem like much, but it was actually very, very cool. He took the word Monday, and for every Monday for several months, he animated a 10-second little vignette that just brought the word Monday to life. And he used a different technique every single time he did it. And it just showed us that he's got some creative spirit. He's got some ways of range that we might not see in his regular reel. And if there is some way that you can showcase some of the behind the scenes stuff and showing that you're doing more than just your project work, we as hiring people love to see that. Follow industry leaders. We want to make sure if I'm looking at your social and I'm going behind and seeing what you're into, if I see that you're following people that are the best in your industry, we know that you're looking and trying to get inspired by quality. This is Heather Bruner. She's the CEO of WordPress Engine, which is one of the best website vendors that we've ever engaged with. And she's done a really, really great job leading that company. This is Aaron Draplin, who's a pretty famous graphic designer. I mean, whatever those industry leaders are, follow. Even if it's not solely to impress your employers, you're going to learn and see what the best are doing out there and try to emulate that. All right, so if you don't listen to anything for the rest of this meeting, listen for the next 5 minutes, because this is the most important thing you can take away. Practicing good virtual interview etiquette. So let's say you're lucky enough, you have impressed somebody with your application, your resume, your online portfolio. They're ready to meet you. More than likely in this pandemic era, we are, and even if you are trying to apply for something that's outside of Mississippi, you're going to do some sort of video interview. And you need to act like you've been in there before, know what you're doing, and have gone through some of the things that can derail and make you unfairly look unimpressive. And there's a very good chance of looking unimpressive accidentally in the virtual interview setting. So the first thing you need to do is go download all this software. It's all free. And set up test meetings. Go find your friends, set up test meetings, get on your phones, troubleshoot, learn all the different functionalities that might be necessary in a meeting. So that means things like what we just went through right here is sharing your screen. It doesn't always go as planned. And even in the professional setting, 9 times out of 10, there's going to be some sort of IT mess up. Don't freak out. It's okay. Everybody's going to go through it together. You want to minimize those things as much as possible. And if someone says, hey, share your screen, I want to see your work. And you say, well, I've never done that before. I don't know how to do that. It can just suck the life out of a meeting for someone to have to walk you through, click on this button, move this thing. It just takes all the wind out of the sails. So learn this software. Zoom is what we're on here today. We do a lot of Google Meet. Depending on the organization, there might be a lot of Microsoft Teams. These 3 things are essentially the same. And then there's Slack and Skype and Discord that have a bit of a hybrid chat, video, kind of sharing platforms that be very, very good to understand. Make sure your presentation is thought out, and there's some small investments that you can make to really make a big difference. Over here, this is an example of a product called the Lume Cube, L-U-M-E Cube, C-U-B-E, and it's about a $25 light that you can clip on the top of your laptop, and it makes all the difference in the world. You look so much better when you're lit. That's one thing that I learned when I came over to Mad Genius. Lighting is so much of what makes video or photography look good. There's all kinds of backgrounds that you can find. Know that you're in a professional setting. So there are, here's one from the office. You might get a little chuckle or a laugh. You probably don't want to put anything that's going to be super distracting from people focusing on you. Or, another thing that you need to test out is sometimes those virtual backgrounds will cut you out and you can move back and forth, and it might accidentally cut your neck off or have your chair superimposed. So just test it and be careful. Invest in a microphone. A microphone can make a big difference, or a bad microphone can make a really big difference. It can really ruin an interview when people can't hear you. And then lastly, make sure you've got a great internet connection. That will also just totally assault an interview if people are constantly disconnecting and reconnecting. If you don't have a good internet connection at your house or wherever you're going to conduct this interview, go find a place. Go to the coffee shop. Go somewhere that you know. Go to your friend's house. Go somewhere that you know is going to have a great internet connection. And also, if you don't go with virtual background, and I'm not necessarily suggesting that as default, just make sure you have something that is better than a blank wall or a messy room behind yourself. You know, stage yourself, make a good impression, and it just takes a little bit of effort, and it goes a long way. Personal appearances are very important, and I'm not just talking about clothing and doing your hair or shaving your head or oiling your beard, whatever that might be. Know your audience. If you're interviewing at a place that is on the formal side of things, dress formally. If you're interviewing, like if you were to apply at Mad Genius and you wore a suit to Mad Genius, we'd probably put that in the check marks against you because we're just not a suit and tie shop. So understand your audience. Also position your camera. You don't want your audience to be looking up your nose or having a tiny head at the bottom of the screen. Just do some testing, make sure you're centered, well lit, and you've brushed your teeth that day. Rule number 2 is to be professional. This is very, very important. We as hirers want to bring on people that we don't have to babysit, that have proven that they understand a little bit about what it takes to be a paid professional. We don't want projects. We want people that can come in, that can work hard, that don't have to be told exactly everything to do. You're not expected to know everything on day one, but the effort and just some common sense about things really go a long way into professional impressions. So the first thing that you have to do that you can just royally screw up on is following instructions. So a lot of applications will involve web forms and specific ways in which you need to apply, whether that's through LinkedIn or Indeed or on an organization's website. Make sure you follow all the instructions. Go slowly. You know, these web forms are, you know, you press that button and it's gone forever. So you need to make sure that you go through and you've spell checked everything, that you have all the things in the right place, that you've attached the files that are necessary. Just be very, very careful and diligent. Don't ready, fire, aim when it comes to following the instructions on applying. Your resume is extremely important. If you have a typo in your resume, you are disregarded. If you're a designer and you have things that are misaligned, or you've got widows or valleys in your text, you are disregarded. Find a professional English person, whether it's one of your teachers or someone that understands grammar, structure. Let them go over it with a fine-tooth comb. If you have to pay somebody, do it. It's critical. It's critical to have that done. With the design folks, you know, the resume is mostly an exercise in following instructions and paying attention to detail. It's not necessarily, you know, understanding your working at Chick-fil-A for 3 years. You know, it's nice to have, but we want to make sure that you can build a professional document and can pay attention to those details. All right, here's another pet peeve that we have when it comes to hiring. Don't do this right here. If an employer has said, hey, it's been great, and they're doing some kind of follow-up with you, emails are not text messages. Have an introduction, a greeting, have a couple well-written sentences, make sure there's no spelling errors, reread it 3 or 4 times, have a close, and respond professionally. This can kill the spirit of an interview if you're treating it very, very casually, because we're seeing it as a potential place where you might actually be communicating with the client. And if you're going to treat a client this way professionally, it's a check against you because you weren't aware that you should talk like an adult. lastly, in this section, I think maybe lastly, I don't know. One way to make a great impression is to do your homework, to do the research on the folks that you are going to interview with. Specifically, reviewing their people. Hopefully you know who's going to interview you and who's going to be in the room. Go on their site, see if they have anything posted on their site. If not, go stalk them. They're going to stalk you on social media. You go look them up on social media. If you're looking for a position in Mississippi or in the South, everybody knows everybody. So it's a great way to start the conversation of, oh, you know, such and such. I used to play sports with such and such, or babysit, or whatever that might be. Try to make a connection with your people. It goes a long way into proving that you're committed enough to do research. If I'm an employer and I'm looking to hire someone, if I put that person on a project, that shows that they know how to do research on their own without having to be told to go do proper research. Also, review their work. That's a very big deal. If you're in the interview and somebody's talking about a particular methodology or skill set, and if you pop up with like, oh yeah, like you did on that one project, you will get major cool points. And honestly, in some interviews, if it's a candidate that we really like or we want to put to the test, I'll even ask, hey, what's your favorite project on our website? And if they come back with an answer that feels research, feels like they've actually taken the time to read and review, I have a much better feeling than someone going, I don't know, I like them all. You know, that type of response feels lazy. And also, again, especially if you're looking for a position here in Mississippi, someone's going to know someone that either works there, has worked there, wants to work there. Ask people about that place before you go talk to them. There might be some tips. There might be some do's and don'ts that someone has already made mistakes on. Just try to get some sort of background from someone before you go into that interview setting. And then there's the follow-up. So follow-ups are very important. Sometimes they're initiated by the employer. Sometimes they need to be initiated by you. So one thing that is often overlooked and is incredibly important are your references. So typically 3 references is enough. And it's also, you know, one of the tactics is to ask for references, or ask the employee to ask for references if they want, which means they're interested in you enough to want to do some background checks on you. So make sure you tell people that you are listed as a reference, because you don't want them to get a surprise call and not be prepared to speak in a way that you want them to speak about. So make sure that you've got good references, that they have been given the heads up and they're going to say things that are good about you. So this is something that makes a very big impact. You know, we live in a digital virtual world, and this whole presentation is mostly about being digital and virtual. I want you to imagine if one of your good friends took time out of their day and sent you a text message that said, hey, I really appreciate you, you know, keep it up. You'd feel really good. What if that person took the time to write a letter, put it in the envelope, buy a stamp, put it in the mail, and say, hey, I really want you to know that you're special? That goes so much further, because that shows effort. That shows it's easy to write a text. It's easy to write an email. But when you show effort and you've come to an interview and you've taken the time to write a little bit about your experience, write about some of the things that you appreciated and enjoyed with the meeting, and followed up with a handwritten note, it goes a long way. Don't walk in the interview with a handwritten note. Don't leave it if you do have a face-to-face. Don't leave it immediately. Give it a couple days, and it will be very impactful. Let's just say that you've met with somebody and it's been a couple weeks. Know that unless this is a big organization and they've got hiring departments, people are very busy. People forget. People might have scenarios that they're juggling that they can't really tell you about when it comes to making decisions between multiple candidates. So it's okay to follow up. You know, at the most once every 2 weeks, just saying, hey, you know, I know that y'all are considering some things, just love to know if there's anything that I can do on my end to let you guys know that I'm a great candidate for you. Don't pester though. You will really, really annoy someone if you are sending emails with all caps and exclamation points or sending an email every day. If you get too hardcore salesmen on it, especially in a creative position, the people that are managing you will have a bad taste in their mouth from being pestered about things. So do it in moderation. This third
Brian,
rule, be yourself.
Somebody was asking, want to interject. They said, would personal postcards or some type of personal created afterwards, would that also count as a good follow-up? They were asking.
Sure, absolutely.
Something has your own artwork or your own style.
Yeah, just be careful not to overdo it. Something, a handwritten letter that's got your artwork on it, or just if you're a designer and you've designed a thank you card in your own personal branding, that's a great example of being appropriate. Sending someone a gift card to say thank you might get a little weird. So just try to use common sense and know that the folks that are interviewing you are probably interviewing a handful of other people as well. So make those small impressions and make them good, and avoid those bad impressions. Be yourself. This is very, very critical as well. Oh, am I frozen? There we go. Go into the interview and know what you want. Know the type of job that you want, know the type of people that you want to work with, know the number, the salary that you are looking for. Be prepared. Being yourself and understanding what you're looking for is more than just being creative and unique. It's really knowing what's going to make you happy. Especially knowing what your perspective is on remote work. I will say that this image is probably the least related to all of my subject matters, but I tried to imagine what it would be like to remote work back when I was looking for a job, and it would look something like this. And it sounds awful. Some people are really interested in a remote position. Some people would really are very type A and need to be around people. The organization itself is going to have different policies and preferences, but at some point during the interview, you need to know or ask what's the flexibility on working from home. And that way it's clear from the very beginning, and you don't get into a position where you get hired onto this role as a designer or account person, and they want you to be at home all the time. If you're a type of person that wants to be around people, that's gonna be miserable. Or vice versa. You might have health concerns that you really want to avoid being indoors with people for 40 hours a week. And that's okay. Just make sure that you know that answer ahead of time, and you have communicated that with the hiring person ahead of time. So know that answer. Also know your number. This is something that I wish students knew more about coming into interviews. Know the salary that you would be willing to work for, but also be realistic. All of these positions are going to be very likely entry-level positions, and the employer's objective is to try to get the best talent we possibly can for the cheapest overhead, for the cheapest cost we can. So be prepared to answer that question. Somebody might ask you that question. What type of salary are you needing in order to come start work at our agency? Or they might say, we have X. Does this work for you? Be prepared. A lot of times your parents can be really good because it's kind of weird to talk about salaries sometimes. So if you've got some trust in your parents they've been through salary negotiations before, ask them, ask some people you trust that have been there, done that. But be realistic. Going on monster.com and looking up what typical graphic design positions in Mississippi make, those can be wildly inaccurate. So it's much better to talk to somebody that's worked in the field recently and ask them what you can expect as far as a salary, but be prepared to have that question. Here's another one. Don't hold out for the perfect job. Find a good job. Find a job where you can grow as an individual, as a professional, where you can get great experience, because that's the hardest thing. People are wanting to hire someone with experience. If you don't have experience, you can't get hired in a lot of ways. So find a job that is a good job, not the perfect job. So generally speaking, there is a lot of turnover in the creative industry. People do job hop more than a lot of other industries. So don't feel like you've got to hold out for that dream job. You're probably not going to get a dream job right out of college anyway. So find a job that you would be good with, that you feel good about, and that, especially with the person that's going to be supervising you, you feel like they could coach you and make you a better professional after a couple of years there. So showing personality any way you can. If there is a lack of meeting face-to-face, you've got to find creative ways to show your personality. Use those quirks to your advantage. I am very much, when I'm in a professional setting, I like to tell people that my angry face is my thinking face. Because if I don't, a lot of times they think I'm really pissed off all the time, but that's just me processing things in my head, and it just looks like I'm mad all the time. So if you're shy, or if you have a motor mouth, let people know that you're vulnerable and that you're a human being, but own the things that make you you, and don't let them get in the way of making a good impression. Be ready to talk about your hobbies. One of the questions that we ask almost every person that we interview is, what do you do outside of work for fun? Personally, since the pandemic, I've gotten really into fishing. We learn a lot about people when we ask this question, because it's a little window into what makes them tick. And there's no wrong answers here, unless you're talking about the things that are illegal that you do. Try to show some personality, show that you are a human being that does things outside of work and you have other passions and interests. And then this one's pretty important. It's pandemic era, the age of cancel culture. People freak out about everything. Just be very, very cautious. Even in Zoom interview settings, you don't want to be the guy that says, man, people who wear masks are stupid, or people that don't wear masks are stupid. Just know that you're going to be working with people that aren't going to see eye to eye on everything that's part of your worldview or your perspective. And you've got to respectfully work with those people and get along professionally, and just be a decent person when it comes to having conversations, because they're going to happen, especially these days. So just be very, very cautious, be diplomatic wherever you can. It's a good way to make a bad impression, is if you are very, very passionate about some sensitive things. So just be very, very cautious there. And then lastly, there are plenty of good candidates. There's only one you. Own this. We want to see what makes you tick. We want to see why you would be a good fit over at our place. One of the things that we constantly share around, searching for stock photos is weird. I've always wanted to use this photo in some kind of professional presentation, and I finally got the chance. So figure out what makes you unique. If you're a half centaur, that's great. If you filmed one of the first viral videos, or if you used to be a bounty hunter, those are two backstories from two current employees at Mad Genius. So tell us about it. We want to know. We don't want robots. We want people. We want different backgrounds and different perspectives. So know what makes you unique and be proud of it. Tell us what skills that you bring to the table. Yes, we might be hiring you for a copywriter or a designer, but if you can shoot photography, if you have an interest in video production, if you like to do arts and crafts or be a handyman or whatever that might be, tell us about it, because that's just going to add value, especially if it's something visual that you can put on your portfolio, that we can see that, and it's something you're proud of and that you want to do in your profession. Let us know about it. It will add value. And then if we're looking at apples to apples candidates, and we've got someone that can do something a little bit more out of the job description, it's a lot more attractive. And then let people know that you're interested in learning about something. Let's just say you're interested in motion graphics, but you don't have a ton of experience. Let us know. Let your employers know. People want to hire individuals that have a passion for learning, especially in the creative field where technology changes, techniques change all the time. You have to be in a constant state of learning. I'm sorry if you had the impression that learning stops when school stops. It's very not true. You'll learn more in the first 6 months of the job than you will for the last 2 or 4 years at school. So be passionate about learning. Let people know that you are passionate about learning, and be specific about what you want to learn about. In conclusion, just pay attention to all the details. Again, the setting has gone from face-to-face. It's now very virtual. A lot of times it happens without even you being in the room. So all the details that you can pay attention to make yourself look good, impressive, that you've thought out all the details, will go a long way with your potential employer. And also, you might do something they aren't even doing well, and that could be something that's very exciting for them. So that is what I have for you guys. And I've screwed up on most everything on this list before. So even if you screw up, it's okay. Learn from your mistake and be better.
Ryan, we have a few minutes, and it's great. Can you go back to you were talking about the personnel? I know that y'all do such a great job of self-promotion, and y'all are known for the wonderful promotions, or the websites and your print. Can you go back to, like, was it slide 2 or 3 that showed, since we went through those? So this is some of y'all's fun that y'all do all the time.
Yeah. One of the things that we have seen through statistics and just client feedback, people love learning about our people. When we have potential clients in the building, they rarely come to us and say, we love that project that you did here and here for X and Y. Most of the time they say, oh, I spent 30 minutes learning about the people that are going to be working on my project. I'm excited about these backgrounds and these types of people. So we invest in showing off and touting the creativity of the people that work here. There's a pretty significant portion of our website that's dedicated to showing that off, and the stats of how people are consuming our website data reinforces that. Most people are spending their time looking at our people. And
what's the web? Is it Mad Genius, or is it Get Mad? I forgot. What's the website?
MADG.com, madg.com.
Madg.com.
Mm-hmm.
Madg.com.
And we're generally always in a constant state of hiring and interviewing, especially designer positions. That's a position that we pretty much always keep open at a certain level. Whether or not we're ready to hire that instant is to be determined based off of workload, but it never hurts to apply. A large majority of people that work here now applied when that position might not have been open, and then were followed up with when the position came open. I was that way. I came and applied here. There wasn't a role open. A couple of years later, a role opened, and I was able to come on board.
Verify, y'all have the really cool, huge facility in Jackson, which is from in the front door out the back. Y'all can do all animation and green screen. And y'all have expanded down to Ocean Springs, but y'all are a regional, southern, and a statewide company, correct?
We are. We've got a presence down in Ocean Springs, and our clientele varies from local folks. We get really excited about doing work for local Mississippians, but that scales up, and we do a lot of work for regional, national, and even international brands. It's fun to work on brands that are household names. It's also fun to help a startup here in the Jackson area or down on the coast that's trying to get their name out there. We love the variety, and that's another common denominator for the people that work here. Is We like putting on our beer selling hat one day and then putting on our insurance hat the next day because it's fun. There's variety, and we get to try to solve different problems in a different way every day.
Ryan, I know from experience as an educator and working, the Mad Genius comes up often, especially after y'all do workshops and they see y'all online, they go, the word cool, that's neat. On the Q&A, there's a question is internships. And do y'all have interns or do y'all sponsor interns? Or what do you recommend on internships?
Sure. I will say of the things that we do really well, internships are not one of them. We have and are working on a more formalized internship program. The copywriting internship position is one that is a lot more plug and play than a designer internship position. So we're trying to figure out some boundaries on how to bring on a designer type intern, and what we want to put people to work on jobs that are paying jobs. We don't want to invent fake projects for students that just need some experience. We want it to be beneficial for the student to get some real world experience and be beneficial for us to invest in someone or put them on something that is an actual project that they can use their talents and skills on. So the designer type roles have been a little more challenging for the internship, but we're working on a program that will hopefully be revealed at some point this year to make that a better opportunity for you guys.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to throw another comment, and this is an ongoing type comment, but I'd love for you to address it. Many times when we see students who are interviewing for jobs or resumes, they will use verbiage such as, I want to be a designer. I want to be a place that will inspire me and allow me to grow. That conversation, I always mention to students, instead of saying, I want to be a designer, I preferred somebody say, I am a designer. These are my skills today, but look at what I can do. So it's not like selling Girl Scout cookies. Will you buy cookies? You should say, I have cookies. Do y'all get that a lot when people show up going, I want to become something? And y'all are saying, well, we're actually hiring somebody who already has skills and we're not in the training business, or how do y'all approach that?
That's a great way of summarizing it. Yes, we do get those people, and we prefer someone that we can put to work immediately. Like I said, we don't want to have to babysit somebody. We want someone that can get in, can learn quickly, and they know who they are. We don't want to hire an experiment. So fake it till you make it. Be confident in your abilities. If you show timidness, or you're unsure, I want to kind of test the waters, or I think I'd be pretty good at this. Those are check marks against you, because now all of a sudden you're a risk. If you're not sure that this is your career path, it's going to take time and energy from us to invest in you, getting you up to date with how to be professional, but also in the way that we operate. There's a lot of time and effort, and we don't want to do that for someone that's trying to figure it out on, Mad Genius company time.
Again, I'm overstepping a little bit, but as students who are listening, when you apply as a student, you have done work. You have portfolio. Now, you may not have been paid for it. It may not be the job that you want. But remember, you are trained compared to somebody that does not. So I encourage y'all to always go in and say, I am this. You may not be the best. You may not have the most experience, but you are there for a reason. So emphasize those things while you're there. So thank y'all for letting me jump in and add that. Well, Ryan, I don't have any other questions. Does anybody want to throw something up either on the Zoom chat or the Q&A? Before we let you go, Ryan, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Here you go. What is the best project that you've worked on? I don't know if that means best in the design or the most fun. So what would you consider your best project?
That's a tough question. Part of the reason why I love Mad Genius is we're constantly shifting around. One client is really fun in one way, and another client is really fun in another way. Right now, I can't really tell you the best, but I can tell you the one that we've been excited about the most recently. There's a beer startup company called Colson's, and hopefully you guys are all old enough to drink. But It's brewed in Mississippi, and we helped brand them, promote them, all from the ground up. And it's been a real joy to see someone who's got a lot of Mississippi pride, but also have a product that stands on its own with the best of them, grow from literally a beer that this guy was brewing in his garage to now, of all the beers that are brewed in Mississippi, it's the #1 top selling beer in Mississippi. So it's been pretty.
Oh, lost you, Ryan. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Folks, we lost audio. I can still see a screen. I don't know about you. So it may be me. Okay. All right. Ryan, we're getting close to time. Can somebody on the side chat let me know if you hear me? Maybe I'm in the bubble. I may be the techno out. He's frozen. Can you hear me? Oop.
Hello?
There you go. You're back. There you go.
Okay.
You're frozen. Okay. I was going to say, thank y'all. If there's another question, again, there's going to be a Q&A this afternoon. Ryan, thank you so much. I got to ask, I forgot, one of our Mississippi agencies did an ad or promotion using a monster truck and Brett Favre. Was that your agency one time did that?
It was. That feels like a planted question.
Well, no, I had my fingers crossed. I thought it was you, but the idea of having an actual monster truck to play around with and Brett Favre and being paid by a client to play around with would be a pretty fun day. At least the monster truck running through the mud all day and riding around.
It was very, very fun. Especially the client took that, and it was so successful that they actually took that monster truck on tour to football games and parked it because it was Farm Bureau. It was wrapped with Brett's graphics and Farm Bureau graphics, and they would take it to football games and let people know of their product when they were there. So there was, for a couple of years there, it was a little bit of a hero.
Oop, you froze up again, Ryan. I apologize. Folks, if somebody let me know if you can hear me, if I'm not frozen, it's just my audio. So Ryan, you'll come back in a moment, but you froze again. So can you're back. Sorry, he's out. Okay. Folks, we're going to do a couple of housekeeping tours. Again, if you want to upload, can somebody on the side let me know if you can hear me real quick? Thank y'all, guys. We didn't realize the showcase. If you want to upload something, and there's some sitting in Paul's right now, we'll get those up during lunch. They were limited, only 5 comments. Thank you to Eric Oliver at Future Design Group. He's our tech guru. He wouldn't change it, so you do 50 comments. We had a number of people from industry, and thank you for Matt on the coast joining in and other ones. So if you want to go upload some stuff from our educators, we're going to leave that up for a week. Educators can log in, do as a student, professionals can log in, and we'll drive some more people to that showcase. So if y'all would go through and want to upload some stuff, if not today, tonight or this week, we'll leave it up for a week and try to get some people in industry, other educators from our schools. So my folks, my instructors I know from Ole Miss, Meridian, and Gulf Coast, and the other schools which are listening right now, you can log on. So whatever we can do, and Ryan, thank y'all so very, very, very much. A note this afternoon, we have at least 3 panelists. The panelists this afternoon is going to be Paige Ann Stevens with Christie Fountain Advertising. Also CC Shabazz, and she's been a lot of great agencies, but right now she's the marketing brand strategist at Memorial Hospital. Then Jessica Broom is the advertising manager at Keesler Federal Credit Union. That will be the Q&A this afternoon. Instructors, I don't know if this will be up. I'll try to start it early, but if y'all want to start putting those in the Q&A session. If not, I see CC has been with Mad Genius, and she was Power Lines Advertising, and I think Transmedia, the focus group. She is in demand, and she's helped us out over the years. Students, I'm glad y'all are here. If you're not getting anything out of this, you send me a message and tell me specifically what you are anticipating. I know it's Zoom and y'all are tired of Zoom, but as we build this in the future, it's by Mississippi companies, educators, and our students and instructors. You have the right to tell us what we did wrong or right, and we'll look for more feedback later. Folks, I'm going to call this session to an end. I look back to seeing y'all in that new Zoom number at 1 o'clock. Ryan, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And great to share this deck, and you can have my email address. And if you guys have any questions, I am happy to respond, get you going in the right path.
Ryan, your slides or your show that you have, if an instructor wanted those, can you give those out for exclusive use in the classroom if they're not restricted? You'll think on it. If an instructor thinks you could use those,
Yeah.
you can reach out to me or Ryan directly if you don't mind me saying that.
Sure.
But if there was something you saw you could use in the past, we'll see if we can't get that to y'all. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your break for lunch. We'll see you at 1 o'clock.